Title: My Stalker Ex-Girlfriend, a cautionary tale. I never imagined that my college relationship would spiral into a real-life thriller, but here I am, sharing my story for anyone who might find themselves in a similar situation. It all started in my sophomore year when I met Emma. She was everything I thought I wanted: funny, charming, and undeniably magnetic. We hit it off immediately and soon found ourselves in a whirlwind romance. At first, everything was perfect. We spent hours talking, laughing, and exploring our college campus together. But as time went on, I noticed some changes. Emma started to become more possessive. She wanted to know where I was at all times, who I was with, and what I was doing. I tried to brush it off as her being caring, but deep down, I felt increasingly suffocated. After about a year, I couldn't take it anymore. I realized I needed to break up with her. It was one of the hardest decisions I've ever made, but I knew it was necessary for my mental health. We had a conversation in a quiet coffee shop, and I told her I felt overwhelmed. She was heartbroken, crying as she promised to change. I thought maybe we could still be friends, but it quickly became clear that wasn't going to work. After our breakup, Emma didn't take it well. She flooded my social media with messages, declaring her undying love and posting old pictures of us together. I felt a mix of sadness and anxiety. I wanted to move on, but she wasn't letting me. Things took a turn when I started noticing her showing up in places I frequented. I was at my favorite coffee shop one afternoon, sitting with a group of friends, when I caught a glimpse of her in the corner, staring at us. My heart raced, but I convinced myself it was just a coincidence. I mean, it was a popular spot, right? But then it happened again. I saw her at the gym, just a few treadmills away. It felt like she was watching me, tracking my every move. The unease grew, but I kept telling myself I was being paranoid. It wasn't until I spotted her at my workplace that I realized I was in deep trouble. That day, I decided enough was enough. I texted her, asking to meet in a public park to talk. I thought if I could explain how I felt, maybe she would understand. When I saw her, she looked different, almost unkempt. We sat down, and I tried to be gentle but firm. I told her I needed space and that I was serious about moving on. Her reaction shocked me. She went from calm to frantic in an instant. "You don't understand," she yelled. "We're meant to be together. I can't lose you." I tried to reason with her, but it was like talking to a wall. I left feeling both sad for her and scared for myself. After that encounter, the messages started getting weirder. They came late at night, filled with rambling thoughts about how she was watching out for me and protecting our love. At first, I didn't know how to respond. I didn't want to engage, but I also felt guilty ignoring her. Then one evening, I found a note taped to my apartment door. My heart dropped as I read it. "I'll always be watching you." That was it. I realized I was in a situation that was no longer just uncomfortable, it was dangerous. Feeling cornered, I decided to take action. I documented everything, every text, note, and social media post. I spoke to my friends and family about what was happening, and they rallied around me, encouraging me to be vigilant. It was comforting to know I wasn't alone. Eventually, I reached out to the authorities. They listened to my story and advised me to file a restraining order. I remember sitting in that police station, feeling surreal. I never thought I'd be in a situation where I'd need legal protection, but I knew I had to do it. The day of the hearing was nerve-wracking. I was anxious, but I also felt a sense of resolve. As I walked into the courtroom, I spotted Emma sitting at the back. She looked different, disheveled and frantic. My stomach turned. I was suddenly filled with dread. When it was my turn to speak, I tried to remain calm. I presented my evidence and explained how her behavior had escalated. The judge listened intently, and I could feel Emma's eyes boring into me, filled with desperation. The judge granted the restraining order, and for a brief moment, I felt a wave of relief wash over me. But part of me still worried that Emma wouldn't take the order seriously. The weeks that followed were tense. I avoided going out alone and stopped visiting places I knew she frequented. My friends helped by accompanying me whenever we went out, but the anxiety lingered. One night, I received a text from a friend that sent chills down my spine. "I saw Emma outside your apartment." My heart raced as panic set in. I called the police, but by the time they arrived, she was gone. It felt like a twisted game of cat and mouse, and I was constantly on edge. Eventually, things began to settle down. I hadn't seen Emma in weeks, but the fear lingered. I spent a lot of time reflecting on what had happened, learning about boundaries, and the importance of taking threats seriously. I realized how easily relationships could shift from love to obsession. Rebuilding my sense of security took time. I started therapy, which helped me process everything. I learned how to set firm boundaries and trust my instincts. It was a long road, but I knew I had to prioritize my safety and well-being. If there's one takeaway from my experience, it's this: trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. Don't hesitate to reach out for help, whether it's from friends, family, or the authorities. It's a lesson I'll carry with me for life. While I hope to never encounter anything like this again, I'm grateful for the strength I found in myself. And if anyone reading this finds themselves in a similar situation, know that you're not alone, and you have the power to protect yourself. Thanks for letting me share my story. I hope it serves as a reminder that our safety should always come first.